Welcome to NASPA Tonight. My name's Josh Greenway.
And I'm not Jackson Smylie.
And we're here to talk about Scrabble and have a good time. We're coming to you live from the floor of the North American Scrabble Championship. Can you describe the surroundings, Mike?
It is like I am at ScrabbleCon 2018. The lighting is fluorescent, the tables go on for miles and miles on, and the floor is a beautiful cafeteria 1980s realness. But yes, we are here at the Buffalo Niagara Convention Center here in Buffalo, New York. We have just finished day 2 of the North American Scrabble Championship. We are 14 rounds in, we have 17 rounds left, and boy do we have a show for you tonight.
This is an exciting time of the tournament. We're not quite halfway done.
Not even close.
But
2 days down, we have 2.5 days left to go.
Yes, that's true.
Really excited to tell you the results. Wait a minute, what in the
What is going on?
It's a dinosaur. Hi there.
Now, be careful, dinosaur. There's wires on the floor all over the place. Here, come back into frame.
I mean, we're going to have barbecue at Dinosaur later, but I didn't think about this real dinosaur. Talk about prehistoric, am I right?
Dinosaur, what's your record?
Dinosaur doesn't remember.
The dinosaur doesn't remember. I think it's about, I want to say 9 and meteor.
7.5, 6.5.
7.5, 6.5. I've heard 9 and meteor, but the dinosaur's in the midfield. You know, the dinosaurs one to watch in the division, in the prehistoric division.
Beautiful. I love it. What about in the Jurassic?
Ooh.
No, but your joke is better than that. Okay, I think we're now properly shared to the Facebook page and the group. Thanks for joining us, Dinosaur.
And that was not our special guest. But...
Oh, snap.
Thesaurus Rex.
Thesaurus Rex.
When you are outsassed by a dinosaur, you know that you've done this stuff.
That's the best joke of the night so far. Okay, so that was awesome.
That was great.
So let's get back to business here. We're at the point where we're not quite halfway through. We're a little more than halfway till we're done. But the field is starting to spread out a little bit.
You just contradicted yourself. You just said we are not halfway through. We are more than halfway through. Ladies and gentlemen, 31 divided by 2 is about 15.5. So when clocks are about halfway through the 16th round, then we're truly halfway. But we are starting to see who are the leaders and who are going to be the followers.
Yeah, that's true. Things are starting to, the cream is starting to rise to the top.
Yep, that's how it goes. Cream rises to the top, and the rest is just bottom.
Uh-oh. They're saying they can't hear you, Mike. Is your microphone is on.
Uh-oh.
You got to talk right in. Eat that mic, all right?
I don't want to eat the mic.
So.
Can you hear me? It's very shrill and loud. Hello? Mom, can you hear me?
Try now.
Father,
there we go. I think that's going to be better. Thank you for... Uh-oh. Some people are saying no volume. So, Brian McDonald, can you give us a live update as to whether you can hear Mike? Mike, give us a little patter.
Papa, can you hear me? Brian, can you hear me?
All right. The feedback has gone quiet. I believe it's working because the lights on the audio interface are lighting up. They should be able to hear us. Maybe they need to turn up the volume on their computers.
I have broken their speakers with my wonderful singing.
I see. Well, they're saying that they're having a tough time hearing us, but there's nothing that really...
Oh, I just clicked something. Hello? Please stand by.
Okay, how about now? I think that's going to be better. So, let's talk about...
Did they hear anything about the dinosaur?
I don't know, but they would have seen it.
I mean, they just saw a random dinosaur with no volume. That explains Scrabble to a T.
Okay, so I want to cover one thing.
What's up?
I don't want to step on the standings segment. How's it going for you? How's your day been?
So, there were total winsels for the Gincels. In the afternoon session, actually won 2 straight games, beating Mr. Bafra, who was a 1,400 rated player, and Mr. Mabo, who was a 1,200 rated player.
Beautiful. How many wins so far total?
I am at 3, which is tied for my best Collins National. And I can hear the groans coming through the computer from everybody, like 3 wins, really. But let me tell you, Scrabble is a lot like Dawson's Creek. One moment you're like, they don't understand me, Mom. The blank wasn't there. And then you just, I don't want to wait for my life to be over. And next thing you know, you find true love and you win 2 games.
Beautiful. That is a beautiful story. And what were your expected wins coming in?
I want to say 0.7 in a bag of Doritos.
So you're rolling. You're off to the races.
I'm like 3 in Pringles right now, honestly.
So tomorrow,
Cheetos.
3 wins?
Lay's potato chips. Diet Coke. I would love to, if I went 1, 2, if I can go for 3, and then 4, and then 5, even though there's like only 3 rounds, but I can win 5 games on the last day, it'd be great. I just get 2 bonus wins for being me.
Fantastic.
But it's doing good. 3 and 11. I know you're 0 in social media.
That's right. So I've been busy most of this tournament. I've been interviewing players.
Yes, you have.
Some of those interviews are going to be able to be seen on the Twitch feed.
That's right.
We've also, Robin has been doing some great interviews, including
the Barbara Walters of Canada, I might add. Robin Pollock Daniel, a true gem of our community.
And she interviewed Cherish. We talked
Cherish.
about Cherish yesterday, but Cherish from Sugarland, Texas.
13. I still don't know how old she is. I think she's 13. But Cherish,
Taller than Robin.
Taller than Robin. And when we get to Division 4, you will hear the wonders of Cherish Ambly Oklo. She is quite the player and quite the contender to win the D4 crown, succeeding Lindsay Crotty. I think we're going to... If Cherish,
Is Lindsay here, by the way?
Lindsay is not here. Shocker. The spoiler.
Oh, yeah.
Austin Shin, a.k.a. Scoring Never Stops, and Lindsay Crotty will be appearing at the Niagara tournament, which is following our nationals. So Lindsay and Austin are making appearances, but I'm going to say, if Cherish is our winner, we have a very worthy successor to Lindsay Crotty.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, for sure. So that's exciting. We're all over the standings.
It's
so
all over.
what other headlines can we talk about here? I mean, we had a dinosaur. One of the interesting storylines from yesterday was all these people who had problems getting here. What was your trip okay coming in?
See, what happens is when you're from the wonderful Sunshine State and from Orlando, Florida, hashtag this city beautiful, hashtag one Orlando, pulse forever. I flew at 6:30 in the morning because here's the funny story, and here's a little coupon tip. You know, gotta give a little coupon tip. It's cheaper to fly in the morning, and nonstop flights are probably the best to go. And I was proxying 23 players I proxied for because I am a caring soul, and I'm the Oprah of Scrabble. And I don't know, but on that though, you have less of a chance to get canceled or delayed, especially with Florida weather being so unpredictable in the afternoon, meaning it rains a lot. You don't really have a risk. So I got here at 9 a.m., got straight to work. Artmore put me into the slave camp. I mean, the 18 cents an hour wonderful pay raise of signing up to the registration desk.
Did all those proxies show up?
Yes, they did.
Nice.
All 23 of my proxies are here, and if my flight got canceled, then nationals would have not happened because all 23 players and me, we lost the division.
All right. Well, that's been a headline. Have you been anywhere in Buffalo? Any thoughts about the host city here for the North American Scrabble Championships?
The wings are amazing.
Did you have wings somewhere?
I had some wings. Let me tell
Where did you go?
We went to the Anchor Bar, the world famous Anchor
Bar.
Oh,
that's a place like when I went there a long time ago. There were no windows. Were there windows?
From the windows to the door to everything, there were doors, there were windows.
Okay.
And there was wings, and it was hot. And someone was chugging 5 glasses of water next to me, and I went, "Oh, honey, you need milk."
Right.
Because water just spreads it. So the wings were great. We're actually going to hit up the casino tonight. We're going to go to the Seneca Casino, which is about a mile down the road. So, bet on black or 21 or score a touchdown. Swoosh a dribble, whatever they do with the casino.
I get it.
Hyatt's been wonderful. Great host hotel.
The hotel's been great.
Please hire me. I'm a hospitality professional in Orlando. Please hire me, Hyatt. I mean, I didn't say that out loud. What? So, but the Hyatt's been wonderful. Great accessibility to the convention center. And we're having a great time, 2 days in. Definitely can't wait to share what we have for standings coming up.
For sure. Well, I managed to make it 2 blocks from the hotel yesterday.
Wow.
That was exciting.
That's a long time.
Otherwise, I haven't been outside, I don't think, other than like walking across the street to get to the plane room. And I've yet to buy a meal here.
Budget friendly.
It is.
That's why he's doing social media to get all the free food. I see right through you, Greenway. He loves the free food.
So I think, so far, I haven't really heard anybody complain.
I've heard people complain.
Like about the venue what did they complain about?
Scrabble, of course. Come on.
That's not what I'm talking about.
My opponent drew 2 blanks and then drew all the power tiles, and they're up by 600, and then they called my mother ugly. And that's just in Division 4. I'm just kidding. But, you know, and then they drew the blank for 400 points, and I was down, but then I scored a 700-point outplay. People complain about Scrabble, me too, you know. Guilty as charged. But, no, I haven't heard any complaints about anything else, really.
Yeah, no, people seem to be having a good time, and it's really exciting to be here. Now, one of the things that's really cool about Nationals is there's always something to do. They plan different types of events. There's stuff to do after hours.
It's like summer camp.
That's right. There's a very social atmosphere that is going on. And, yeah, we've got someone here to tell us all about it.
I know, for the musicale, right? That's coming tonight.
That's right.
We're going to bring on our special guest correspondent, Hannah Lieberman.
Yes.
Hannah's going to be bringing a friend on to talk about everything musicale. So, all you NASPA Tonight friends, the 10s and 10s that are watching right now, or the single digits, because, you know, we need ratings.
We're over single digits.
Whoa. Hi, Mom. I'm a star. All right, so let's bring on Hannah Lieberman.
Yeah,
Hannah?
Absolutely. Hannah, are you going to come on and talk about the musicale?
Oh, fantastic. All right, so I'm going to swap out, and I will be joining you back later on for your results.
Yeah. Now, Hannah, just because a couple of people on here have said they had a little trouble hearing Mike, you're going to want to really get that mic. Yeah, that's seems to be the case. Everything here seems to be appropriately working. But what I want to know about is what's happening tonight. What are you going to tell us about? What are the main details people need to know?
Okay, so tonight is probably my favorite night in all of Nationals. It is the musicale, which I just love the title already, evoking High School Musical. Great word choice. And it is when any participant or friend or emotional support can come along and perform a musical piece for the audience and just kind of show their talents beyond Scrabble. And it's a pretty eclectic, diverse group of, you know, different genres, different musical abilities, and I'll say this, it has never not been entertaining.
And if you want to go to the musicale, what room is it in and what time is it?
You know, it's that gotcha journalism you keep doing. It's 8:30 somewhere in this building. And
I think it's in room 106.
And that's exactly what I was going to say, is room 106 at 8:30. So he beat me to it, but yeah.
Yeah, and you're going to talk with a couple of very special guests who are going to be featured at the musicale. Is that right?
You know, it was hard to pick guests for tonight because there are so many people who perform every year, kind of build on their repertoire each year. It's really fun to watch, but I do have two great people joining me tonight. We've got Josh Sokol, pronunciation TBD, and Dan Stock. And they're both going to come here and boot you out.
Okay, so I am gonna leave.
Oh, yeah.
Here's the deal. This microphone is working well. That microphone does not appear to be working that well. I'm going to suggest that you hold the mic and then hand it off, like point it at.
I got it, folks.
When they're ready to go. And I'm going to try to figure out what's going on technically. All right?
He says he's going to try to figure out what's going on technically. Because you're not on the mic now. You get it. Okay. I have Josh and Dan. Josh is playing in Division 1. Dan is the fearless leader of Division 3. And both are performing tonight at the musicale. And Josh, you're organizing. Are you organizing the musicale tonight?
Yes, I'm hosting it. I'm excited. It's my third year in a row, maybe fourth year in a row that I'm hosting it, and it's a lot of fun. I hope I see all of you here, even if you're watching from home. I really hope to see you tonight at 8:30 at 106B. I have to go to dinner, however, but everything's happening really fast. It's going to be awesome. Hi, everybody. I'll hand the mic over. I'm also performing. See videos later. Bye.
What a whirlwind interview that was. So he's gone now, but while he was here, he told us 106B tonight at 8:30. He's hosting, he's performing, he's charming our socks off. Dan Stock here is definitely performing tonight. And Dan, tell us a little bit about what you usually perform at the musicale.
So Josh is one of those people who performs and is talented and knows what they're doing. I'm a person who performs despite my lack of talent. My usual methodology is to do karaoke, either fake karaoke with someone actually playing or fake karaoke just winging it because I don't really have a karaoke machine, or I think I'm going to get my computer to actually play the karaoke today. But I don't do this straightforward karaoke. I do karaoke parodies. So so I will give an example of how this goes. Please, you may want to cover your ears. It may not sound all that good, but so this is a song actually, or a parody I wrote in 2009, I think, for the Michigan Madness tournament back then, now called the Karaoke Classic. It goes like this. It don't come easy, you know it don't come easy. It don't come easy, you know it don't come easy. You got to pay your dues to escape Division II, and you know it don't come easy. Learn a million words and hang out with the nerds, even though they make you queasy. Forget about your life, your loves, your family. Boom, ba-doo-doo, boom, boom, ba-doo-doo. Put them in the past like a worn-out pair of jammies. I don't play it for fun, just for Division I, and you know it don't come easy. And this game so fine keeps eating up my mind, and you know it just ain't easy. Study all the time, now don't be pokey. Boom, ba-da-da-dum, bum, bum, ba-da-da. Fill each waking hour, yes, even during karaoke. And at this point there's an interlude, which I normally would do something nerdy like spout off all the anagrams in some stem or other. And then I would continue with the rest of the song, but I will not continue with the rest of the song because the rest of the song ventures into PG territory, so we will leave that for later.
You'll have to stay tuned for the exciting stuff, folks. That's called that's an inside word for you.
Well, I wasn't actually planning on doing this one tonight. I think I did it last year, but.
Okay, so I feel like that, if you want more, is enticement a word?
Yes.
I'm all words today. What more enticement do you need to come see this wonderful Scrabble parody? I just want to show what's on his lyrics sheet here. It says, "It don't come easy, a parody for Scrabble players with apologies to Ringo Starr and George Harrison." I think no apologies were necessary. That was delightful. So tell us a little bit, when did you start writing these parodies?
So the Karaoke Classic is a current tournament that's running in Michigan. It's the current version of Carol Ravichandran's Michigan Madness tournament, which started sometime in the late 1990s, I think. I started writing parodies for it in about 2004 or something like that, and I've written parodies for those tournaments for the last something like 15 years.
Wow.
So,
and what was your first parody song?
That's a good question. I don't remember that. So let me tell you one of my favorites. It turns out that I was married to my wife, Joyce Stock, whose name appears on the tableau behind us.
That he creates?
Yes, I also happen to write the 100 tile sentences that show up on the big board. This one says, "Oh, Sue Tremblay, Joyce Stock, and our word wizard, Mr. Pates, are exquisite help in a magical, divine, ongoing Buffalo event." Those three people are the division assistants here at the Nationals. So in 2004... No, it was 2005. I'd been married a little under a year to my wife, Joyce. And at the time, I had a full beard. In fact, she had always known me with a full beard. And I practiced a song, and she knew that I was practicing this song. And we traveled up from our home near Cleveland to Michigan with my sister, Heidi Nemeth, another player, and Joyce and me. And we traveled up in the car and we wrote another parody then. And so I asked Joyce, you want to make copies of this parody so everybody can understand what we're saying. So can you go to the hotel and do that? And just drop me off at the bar because I have some preparations to do before we do the karaoke part. So she dropped me off. She came in. She couldn't find me. Well, it turns out that after she dropped me off, I shaved off my beard. I put on a white shirt. For those of you who know me, the only time I wear a shirt that's other than purple is Nationals when I'm a referee and when I'm doing Elvis impersonations. I put on an Elvis wig. For those of you who don't know me, that's a big change.
We lost a hat.
I lost a hat. Oh dear. I always like to put some little local color on my outfit. That's a Niagara University hat. That's purple. I go with the local color as long as the local color is purple anyway. So she came in. She didn't recognize me. She actually sat down next to me and didn't know who I was.
Amazing.
So, and then I got up, of course, and she figured out who I was when I started singing the song, which went, well, in part, my tile bag is all shook up. Yeah.
I have so many questions about the board, about why you're wearing 3 hats, the color purple, the film, and the outfit choice. But unfortunately, we've got to go talk about standings. Though I feel like what we've done today, if you are not feeling like you need to come see some talent tonight, then I don't know what more we could do. What is Hannah gonna sing? I haven't decided yet. Something musical theater, because in other news, I'm single.
You really also, she really should mention that, yes, she and I are doing a duet tonight also.
We are. I've been roped into several duets this fine evening. I need to warm up a little. Me. We'll get there. Thanks so much for coming on, Dan. If you're here with us in Buffalo, we'll see you tonight, and you'll get to see Dan perform one of his songs in full with moi. Okay, now we are going to do some standings updates. Switcheroo.
All right, thanks so much, Hannah. That was awesome.
Thanks, Hannah.
And here comes
hi again.
For his
Update.
yeah.
All right, so
update. Let's go. Where are we starting?
Well, first off, I'm going to sing So Much Better from Legally Blonde the musical at tonight's Musicale, because I am the Elle Woods of Scrabble. Anyway, we're going to start tonight. We started with Division 1 last time.
We started with Division 4.
Okay, so we're going to flip it and reverse it, as the great Missy Elliott once said. We're going to start with Collins division. First place right now, we have Evan Borofsky, who is holding on with 12-2 plus 10-04.
Absolutely. That is, Evan's killing it.
Evans is doing great. He only has 2 losses. He had a great day. He was mainly at board 1, so I think there's quite a few annotated games for him. Doing great.
He moved into that section over there.
Yes, it's a high rent district.
Yes.
Second place is Dorothy Zabornik, or as we all know her as Jason Keller, who is 12-2 plus 662. The joke being that Jason has written Dorothy Zabornik, who is a Golden Girl, on his folder, and he wore a Golden Girl shirt. So I always stand an iconic queen, and that queen is Jason Keller.
Yeah, and
he's doing great. I mean, he's fantastic at what he does.
Can you argue with the Golden Girls?
No, gosh, no.
Can I say one thing, though?
Sure.
Thank you for being a friend.
Thank you for being a friend. I'll sing the Golden Girls song at the Musicale tonight. But Jason is doing fantastic. He is 12-2 plus 662. He might be able to hold on. And the funny thing is, there's a 2-game gap now. Dave Wiegand is in 3rd place with only 10 wins. So Jason and Evan are going to be our 2 to watch for the next day and see what happens with them. Dave is 10-4 plus 9-11. So Dave has spread, but he's 2 behind. But don't stop Dave. That won't stop Dave, though.
And do we have one to watch?
Rob Rubinski, 10-4 plus 777. Rob Rubinski and Dave Wiegand had a very close game, which was a 1-point difference that I believe went into Rob's favor. I was overhearing it, so I don't know the exact details, but I believe it was a Rob Rubinski win by 1 point. It was on his Instagram, which is at Scrabble Badger. So Rubinski is definitely one to watch. He is 10-4 plus 777. We're still having audio issues, it sounds like.
Apparently. Go to the next.
Can they hear me? Yes. That's all that matters. Anyway, we're gonna go to Division 1 or 4. What should we do? We did 1 yesterday. Let's go to 1. We'll go to 1.
Okay.
And guess who's in first place? To nobody's surprise, Nigel Richards, 11-3 plus 1224. I actually spoke with Nigel today after lunch during our lunch period. He actually did not know what Cheez-Its were. He had no idea what Cheez-Its, the snack cracker Cheez-Its.
Is that shocking?
No, because I don't think he's a man that eats Cheez-Its, to be honest. And we talked about the Scrabble Cheez-Its that Jennifer Lee and myself, I had a conversation with Nigel Richards, the greatest man to play Scrabble, about a snack food. This is the best nationals ever. On second place, we have our dearest friend from Texas, the ever so country and the ever so lovable Chris Cree, who is
He's our featured guest tonight.
Oh my God, shocker! He's like right over there. Hire me. 11-3 plus 306. Chris Cree, no surprise there. Chris has always been like lurking in the top 10. I'm kind of happy to see him in the top 3. My question is, if he wins, does he hand the check to himself and just takes 2 photos? Because that's going to be awesome to see. And Ori Swift, who was our leader on day 1, has slipped to 3rd. He's at 10.5 wins. He is nipping at Chris's heels, plus 640. And the one to watch, your friend, my friend, the Benchster. Ben Schoenberg. Benji is 10-4 plus 407. He's currently in 5th position. He's definitely one to watch. He won the Crescent City Cup in this year. So that gives him some leeway and some advantages. I think he could be one to watch. We're going to head now to Division 2. Curtis Lee is 11-3 plus 943. A random Curtis Lee has now appeared. Curtis Lee, I actually know him from, I believe he's in Florida. I'm not 100% sure. Really nice guy. Happy to see him in 1st place. Michael Baker is going to be in 2nd place, 11-3 plus 883. Only about 70 points or so behind, 60 points behind. Cooper Komatsu, who I believe was in 1st place on, or 2nd place in D2 yesterday, has slipped to 3rd, 11-3 plus 768. And the one to watch in Division 2 is his fellow school Scrabble player, Zach Ansell, who's currently in 4th, 10-4 plus 754. Moving on to Division 3, we have John Fult, who is 11-3 plus 743. Very nice performance today. Josephine Flowers is 11-3 plus 697, and she is smelling like roses.
It's a good day for Texas.
Yeah, Texas kicking some yeehaw Cowboys. You know, save a horse, ride a cowboy, country songs, and shots of whiskey. And in 3rd place, we have Nicholas Tam, who's 11-3 plus 665. So Division 3, I don't see anyone to watch just yet, but I'm sure someone will pop up tomorrow. Division 4, the giant killer of them all is Cherish Ambi Oklo, 13-1 plus 1670, 1,670 points. Cherish, honey, she's killing it. She's doing great. I'm so proud of her. Cherish actually played in Collins Light in New Orleans last year, has switched to TWL, and clearly that was a great move for her because she's doing fabulous. Such a sweetheart. I actually tied her in New Orleans. It was my first ever tie in Scrabble against Cherish. And she's a very sweet lady. She's a great player, and I'm rooting for her all the way. Evan Yurko is in 2nd place, 12-2 plus 826, and Lucy McPhail is 11-3 plus 685. Some of our early favorites, like Rachel Gillette, has not. She's a little bit further down now. Sharon Freeman, who's currently like in 12 and 13, she's someone to watch. But we have Cherish is going to be the one to beat in D4. If she keeps playing the way she is definitely going to be our winner.
What kind of lead does she have?
I mean, 800 points in spread in one game. Okay. So the spread could help her a lot. It's still a little bit razor thin on the lead with only one game, but if she continues what she's doing, we might have her as our winner for D4. D1 is still anybody's game. D2 is still anybody's game. D3 is still anybody's game. D4 is still anybody's game. And Collins too. But we have a 2-game stop with CSW. So we're seeing our leaders here. Will Texas reign supreme tomorrow? I'm going to giddy up into the sunset, and you all have a good night.
Thanks, Mike, for that breakdown. That was awesome. Obviously, Mike has staked his claim to some of his favorite players who he's rooting for. I always try to stay a little bit neutral, but I definitely have my favorites as well. And speaking of one of my favorites, we are going to move on to our feature interview. And I want to welcome to the show the man, the myth, the legend, Chris Cree. Come on in, take a seat here. We're going to be sharing the mic. Chris, welcome to NASPA Tonight. How are you?
I'm doing very well. I must say that this is a marvelous show that you guys put on. I am blown away every time I watch it, and it's can't miss TV. I don't necessarily catch it live, but I do see the recordings, and I'm supposed to be doing other things like taking care of children and, maybe selling a forklift or studying a word list. And there I am just watching. I think you all do a great job, and I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you very much. And I want to remind people, it's great when you watch live, but also you can watch the recording on Facebook. And we also edit them all together, and all the past episodes show up on the NASPA YouTube page. Please go and like and subscribe to that channel. We're putting more and more content. We're putting more emphasis on that channel all the time. But I really appreciate the compliment, and I want to pay one back to you and saying this is a fabulous event. How are things going beyond your record? We'll get to your record, but how do you think things are going from a event management standpoint?
The event management has been incredible. I mean, starting the night before with all the canceled flights, I was a casualty myself, but I was coming up a day early, so I got a mulligan, if you will. I could fly up Friday, and Connie Creed and her husband were kind enough to house me for the evening in Philadelphia Thursday night and feed me all kinds of food, and then we went out to dinner. They were just wonderful. And but we had the rule about getting a proxy to sign in for you if you're going to come in after 7. Well, all of a sudden, a bunch of people were coming in late or didn't know when they were going to come in. I know of at least 3 people who couldn't get flights and couldn't rent a art that came by bus and rode all through the night just to be here. And that kind of dedication to the event is amazing. And I had a meeting with Art and said, whatever our policy is, and Art and John Chu, and I said, whatever our policy is, it needs to be bent so to allow all these people to get here and participate. They're going through mammoth effort to get here, and we need to make sure that we let them all play. That's what we want to do.
And the amazing thing is pretty much everybody that went through that proxy system, like maybe we lost a couple of people through that, but for the most part, people made their way here. That's how important the event is to people. So, and I'm
to further amplify about the question about management. John Chu manages a Scrabble tournament better than anyone in the world, and what we see as seamless, you finish a game, you turn in your results, you go play your next game, you know who's going first, you know where you're sitting. I mean, everything's just done and automated, and a lovely screen of results that people can check on, and your name tag, you can scan it to see what your record. I mean, it's amazing to me, and I'm very fortunate to have John as a partner, and we're also very fortunate to have Art and his wife, who have given so much of their time into this endeavor. There's so much work in the build-up to this event. It's incredible.
I want to double down on those sentiments. I get to co-run a tournament with John, but that's basically charity on his part because he really does not need me. And it's a real thrill to be on Art's team this year and last year. Now, I want to turn the attention to you. You are doing quite well in the tournament. You're currently sitting in 2nd place. Give us your quick thoughts on that. Things are going in your favor?
Yes, not necessarily so much from a pure tile drawing standpoint. In other words, in my 14 games, I've had 5 games without a blank and 3 with both. So I'm actually down on the blank side. But I've won, I think, 3 no blank games, which is hard to do. That makes a big difference. I've made plenty of errors, and in years past, and even in tournaments in Texas or other places that I play, mistakes can get magnified and just be brutal. The mistake I made a mistake against Ori in round whatever round that was, where I was sitting and being annotated, so my mistake could be thrown across the world. That mistake was amplified, and I ended up losing by 180. Other mistakes that I have made have not cost me games. I'm sure they've cost me point spread, lots of point spread, I'm sure, but not games. And there were 2 situations where an opponent drew like 6 of 8 or 7 of the last 9 letters in the bag, and in years past they leave that cue in there for me, and this time they didn't. So
okay, I want to ask you a few more questions. One, give us a brief rundown of how you got your start with Scrabble.
Oh gosh. Well, everybody played as a kid. And in college, my freshman year in college, I was 18. There were 2 kids that decided to have a dorm tournament, and we played the best 2 out of 3 or whatever with everybody in the dorm, and I won every game. And I had never played, but I just had an affinity for the unscrambling of letters and the mathematics of the game. And then I bought a board and got my parents to give me an unabridged dictionary. I played anybody, ex-teachers, mothers of girls I went out with. And there was a flyer on the board to join the Scrabble Players Association. And after 7 years, I got up the nerve to call them And then I started playing in 1980. So 38 years later, here I am.
Fantastic. Now, your current role is the co-president of NASPA. I think some people have an idea of how that came about. The NSA, the National Scrabble Association, was an association that was run by Hasbro, but NASPA is a little bit of a different story. Can you give us a very brief description of sort of that transition and what your role in it was?
Well, the NSA was a privately held company by John and Jane Williams, and they were funded anywhere up to $1.2 million a year by Hasbro to run the Scrabble Association, all things Scrabble, school Scrabble, and all the other things. Somewhere along the way, they decided to start cutting their budget, and they cut it back far enough to where John and Jane just didn't want to do it anymore. So they flew 16 people, including me, up to Springfield, Massachusetts, I guess, to basically say, in a year we're cutting the cord, and you're on your own. Good luck. So, what do you do? Well, I liked the way things ran. I liked having, the way it was. So I just tried to set up a company that was pretty much the same thing, except setting it up as a not-for-profit versus a for-profit organization. And we get $1.2 million less a year than what they did, and we do the best we can.
All right. Well, thanks for that. So, let me ask you this: you've been co-running NASPA for the last, is it 10 years or 9? 9 years. What have you learned about just about organizations, about anything? What have you learned from running NASPA over those 9 years?
I haven't learned anything. I mean, come on. Seriously, nothing's come up. Of course. I mean, my goodness. I got to learn how to work with a partner. I've never had a partner before, and John is an amazing partner. There are 2 guys in the forklift business in Dallas, as a matter of fact, that have a partnership. Actually, now they are retired, but I remember when they used to be there were 3 people in their company, and they bought one of the guys out, and these 2 guys set up a 50-50 partnership. And I marveled at what they did and how they made decisions. And basically, if one says no, it's a no. But with John and I, there's some give and take, in that each of us feels fervently about one thing more than another. And we both. We just know. We both know it's compromise, and Then there's trying to find volunteers such as yourself. You've been amazing with all the things you volunteer with, and you got to manage the volunteers, and you got to manage the different committees. It's management. There's a financial aspect of it. You got to manage the finances. There's so much. There's risk involved in putting on an event like this. I think the risk for this event was like $130,000. Well, that's an awful lot of money, to put up for risk. And what if every flight was canceled? And what if nobody got here?
Right. Well,
who pays the bill?
Yeah. So that actually leads me to my next question. There's a term that is out there in the community that I think a lot of people know this term, but they don't necessarily know what it means. So, what is the war chest? Why is it called that? And what is it used for? What's its purpose?
Well, I've never referred to our capital reserve as a war chest. I refer to our capital reserve as our capital reserve. And when the company was formed, the magic number in my head was $250,000 to have set aside so that we could handle risk and be ready for anything that might befall us. This championship has lost a lot of money over the years, but by having money set aside that has been earning money in a very robust stock market over the last 8 years, we've managed to keep it just about what we had saved. And, we saved it, we save it by, I paid John a salary, but I've taken a salary 2 of the 9 years, I think. So maybe one day I'll get to, but I'm not really worried about it. This is too important to me. I want...
You all right?
I want Tournament Scrabble to be here for my grandchildren if they want to play it.
Well, and that actually leads me right into my next question, which is, what's the future of NASPA? It seems like in today's world, I think a lot of people have seen that games just are so much more important to people in general. You go through almost any city and you see different kinds of gaming cafes or game stores. There are all these different kind of games. And, do you think that, the question is really, what do you think the future of Scrabble is? And do you think there's a way for us to be able to capitalize on this sort of, I don't know if it's renewed or new interest in gaming that goes on out there in the general population?
Gosh, I don't know. As far as what the future is of tournament Scrabble, I mean, who knows what's going to happen? If there's some game that's developed that you play on your phone and all you got to do is just sit there and you don't have to go anywhere, you don't have any expense, then why go through it? Unless that's something you really want to do. For me, that's something I really want to do. I want to play one-on-one with a person across from me. I want to have that tactile. I want the tiles in my hands. I want to take John Chu's wife to dinner. The people aspect, you just can't beat that. And when it's online, it's not the same. But that takes a different type of personality. And we've seen Scrabble organizations throughout the world have the same issues as far as finding and retaining players. We actually find a pretty good group of players each year, but the retention numbers, there's just a lot of attrition. There's a lot going out and a lot coming in. And, people have other things to do with their life. They have children. They want to get a degree. They, whatever the reason, they get tired of playing, or they just, it's not as important as it is to me. I want to play all the time. My wife, Carla, she wants to play all the time, but what's important to her are our children. So she's raising our children, and she'll play with me every chance she gets. She'll go to a one-day event whenever she can, but her priorities are our children. But once those kids are gone, her priority is going to be at this table.
Well, that's great, and I think that really does a nice job of pointing to NASPA's, what do we call it, a slogan, our major statement of making words, building friendships. And that's something that I think is a real strength of this organization. Making words, we have a real competitive aspect, one that you're right at the precipice of right now, 2 days in. But building friendships. The number of people that I interview, people keep coming back to the community and talking about how their best friends were made at tournaments like this. And I agree with you. Sometimes it's tough to compete with people who want to press buttons on their phone, but the real benefit of coming to an event like this is getting to see people. And I really consider this event, yes, it's a championship. Yes, we decide who the North American Scrabble champion is every year, but it's also like a reunion. Do you agree?
Yes, I do. What was I going to say? Well, first of all, props to Alan Stern for coming up with the slogan. Thank you, Alan, and miss you here. I wish you were here. And hello to Ruthie. It took me 7 years after I first bought a board and saw a flyer and found out that there was a Scrabble Association. It took 7 years of beating everybody I played to finally come up with a gumption to call and show up at a tournament and play, and then find out that there was a club and go do it. It's a big hurdle to get through. And once I got through it, once I started doing it, I was flying everywhere to go play at clubs, much less tournaments. I would plan my business trips around flying to when their club met. And that's how I met all my friends out in Los Angeles. And how I developed a market out there. There was nobody doing the forklift business. I just created a market out there and started doing all sorts of business so I could go to the clubs on Wednesday and Thursday.
Beautiful. I love that story. I had a similar thing where it took me probably 2.5 years, something like that, to get to club, and that's one of the reasons why you've got a number of committees kind of pursuing this as different ways to attract people to the organization. School Scrabble is one of those things that everybody considers really important to the future of the organization. I also believe it's just about getting the word out, because if you had known what was in store for you, I'm sure you would have shown up at that club earlier. I feel the same way. So there are a number of avenues that we can pursue to increase membership, and I look forward to working with you, working for you over the coming years to achieve those goals. And I want to say thanks for sitting down with me today. This is a real honor to have you on NASPA Tonight.
Thanks a lot. Sure appreciate it. Thanks a lot, guys.
All right. Thank you, Chris. I want to say thank you to all of our guests and on-air hosts tonight. So thanks to Mike Gincel and to Hannah Lieberman. Thanks to Josh Sokol and Dan Stock. Do not miss the Musicale. That is going to be a party tonight. And most of all, I want to thank the people who are viewing at home. Thanks for sticking with us. I don't know how long we've been on air. We normally try to bring you NASPA Tonight with 25 minutes or less, but there's too much going on at Nationals to contain it to 25 minutes. So thanks, everybody. We're going to be back here on the floor at the North American Scrabble Championship tomorrow night, right around the same time, maybe 5 minutes earlier, 6:15 or so, and we're going to bring you all the important Scrabble news and fun. I wish you all a very good night, and I've got to end the Facebook Live broadcast by grabbing the phone. So thanks, everybody, and keep playing Scrabble.